he was doing. Hey guys, we should.
You're alive now.
Yeah, we'll have some people on now. Sam and his hearts, but but anyway, we'll start the show in a minute, guys. Just wait and see a few people here. Abel will tell us when we're good to go, and he'll jump off. But thank you, Abel, for being here, sacrificing your Thursday night.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, cheers, Abel. Cheers, friend.
Cheers.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the other guys got the day off, so nice of them.
And he volunteered. I was gonna do this, and I was hyperventilating, and then he's like, "I got it, Esthela." I was like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Thank you. I haven't done this part." So, anyway,
Do I put my phone on silent?
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, I just did that. Do not disturb me.
Yeah.
Put that shit on. Do not disturb all the time if I could.
I started using it recently, and I'm like, oh my god, nothing rings. That's fabulous.
Yeah. I like the silence calls that you can actually do, like the scam calls. It just says incoming call, and then it just sends it right to voicemail.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Remember when we used to pay for ringtones?
We used to record them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if my phone rang, I would throw it out the window. Like, I can't even remember those days.
All right.
I was just talking to somebody about like when you're trying to record your outgoing message for your like answering machine.
Yes.
Music, but you'd like start it and you like make it go lower and be like, "What's up? This is Danielle. I can't come in."
Just when it hit the right beat.
Like, and this like Naughty by Nature in the background or something, you know. Good old days.
All right. Okay. We are gonna start the show later, like not today, but I mean from now on we're gonna start a later time, just to allow more people to log on because I feel 6:30 is a little early for some people. They're still getting home and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're gonna move the show to 7 p.m. also. But yeah, that's coming in April and all that stuff. So yeah, Abel, we good? Yeah. Okay. All right.
We got about 10 people on right now.
Okay.
I got 10 people.
The blessed 10.
One of them's probably Caesar, so watch out. Have fun, ladies.
Okay. All right.
Won't leave me alone.
Hi, everybody. Today, welcome to the Beer Show, and today is the annual Women's Show. So thank you, ladies, for being here. Got a good crew of chingonas here with me today. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, say where they love to hang out at, or where they work at, or where they own. So Beth, let's start with you.
Oh my gosh, start with me. I'm like the least brewery person here.
Get out of here. Come on.
I am Beth Demmon. I am a beer writer, beer journalist. You might know me from San Diego City Beat, RIP, West Coaster, Good Beer Hunting. Anywhere that'll pay me, I write for them. And then I put Prohibithchin on here. So that is my awoken column featuring women and non-binary people across all fermented beverage industries. So anyway, you can find me on Twitter at Delighted Bite or on Instagram at The Delighted Bite. And my website is bethdemmon.com if you ever want to see my work, my writing, or podcast or anything like that.
Award-winning writing, ma'am. You should say that part.
And beer judge as well.
There you go.
Very lauded. I'm a lady about town.
Right. Very, very well versed, and we appreciate it. Very well. Carmen. Hi, friend.
Hi. My name is Carmen Favela. I'm with Border X Brewing and Mujeres Brew House. I guess you can say I wear a few hats at Border X. And Yeah, I guess basically marketing director would be the title. Although I was just given COO, Chief Operating Officer.
Woohoo! Yes.
Because I think I wear multiple hats at this point, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and you know, me and her are mujeres. Like we do that shit. We do that shit. We'll get to that later. But Cynthia.
Hi, I'm Cynthia. I am a beer tender and tasting room manager at Three Punk Ales in Chula Vista on 3rd Avenue. I also am a draft maintenance technician with Brewers Fresh. Shout out.
Hey.
Yeah. And I've been in the beer industry for about 8 years now. So yeah, that's it, I guess.
And you can lift a shit ton of weight too,
Oh
friend.
yeah, I do
can we
weightlifting.
Yeah, a little bit.
I do Olympic weightlifting too. Yeah.
Your
What?
videos
That's
scare
like
me,
the
friend.
afterthought. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, there's like a ton of women in that sport, surprisingly. Like some
Is there?
pretty damn strong women in that.
okay, all right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay, all right. And last but not least, girl, Danielle.
Hi, my name is Danielle Rodriguez. I am the South San Diego Territory Manager for Belching Beaver. I sell beer to all over San Diego. So I also beer tin here on Sundays because I can't get away from this company, apparently.
So if you do want to go see her, she is in North Park on Sundays.
Yes,
And she always welcomes tacos too, if you guys do go and visit.
I do. I like potato tacos. I like really any kind of taco. Chocolate as well, flowers, candies.
And all the above, yeah. And Danielle gave us the first beer we're drinking. This is Diamond Hands.
Beautiful.
Hey,
That's better.
so pretty. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
my husband is very into the whole the Reddit
Okay.
shooting to the moon, tendies, like all that bullshit. And so I just sent him a picture of this, and he responded with just like a bunch of weird gorilla emojis and rockets, and I'm just like, I can't. What the hell?
I personally don't know anything about that. I am the worst when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I downloaded the Robinhood app, and I was like, I'm just gonna put money into there, and I have
So random.
No.
So random. But he was very excited about this beer.
That is how we got the name for it, kind of a play on that. The Diamond Hands is like something about you can handle the crash of the market or something like that. I'm not really quite sure because I don't follow the stocks at all. All I know is that
I'm glad you explained that because I didn't know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
this
know
little
that
jerk is crying down here, so
Hi.
come up for a minute.
Danielle, where's your dog at?
dude, she's up in Julian right now with Champ. Yeah, she's up with all the big dogs right now, so she loves them.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about this beer?
So we made this beer because we wanted to do a really hoppy lager, and we're kind of getting into some of the lighter beers. We're going to start making kind of like, everyone's getting into the low calorie, low ABV stuff right now. So not to say that we jumped on that, but we always try to jump on things before they start getting really trendy. Like the seltzers and stuff like that. We were one of the first breweries to start streaming those as well. This guy has a little bit of Citra hops and Galaxy hops, comes in at 4.5%, I believe it is. So
4.2.
4.2.
Even better.
This is the lightest beer that we're going to be drinking today, I think, because I think the rest are pretty much IPAs and ambers.
That's why it's first. First, friend.
We started doing here at all of our tasting rooms, all of our locations. We have 4 locations now that we closed the Ocean Beach location, but we started doing pre-orders for a lot of things. So we're doing kind of specialty beers that you have to jump online, follow us on our social media. We'll share here in a little while, but follow it. Basically, just get your online orders in, and then you can go to the locations and pick up your specialty 6-pack or 4-pack, depending on how we packaged it. This particular one comes in a 4-pack for $11. There may be a little bit more left over in the tasting room, so you may get lucky and find some. It is on draft here in the tasting room in North Park, so you can always come down and get it without having to buy the full 6-pack as well. So, it's a delicious freaking beer. Honestly, this is the first
really
time
good,
and it is extremely hoppy. Honestly,
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I like the hoppiness
it.
on this. Especially considering it's only a 4.2. I was just like, heck yeah! Like this is a mouthful of flavor, friend.
It tastes bigger, which is kind of nice because I feel like you get tricked by the beers that you're just like, oh, I'm slamming it. Oh crap, it's 8%. Like this, like I love like 4.2 is literally like the best ABV for my life, and like I wouldn't have guessed that. This
drink it
so
all
much
day.
flavor.
Drink it all day.
I get it. I personally am not a huge fan of Citra hops typically, but I mean, with this one, the Galaxy complements it so well that it just makes it a perfect balance of hop, and then it kind of falls off a little bit for you, so you don't have that lingering bitterness on the tongue, but you just get a nice mouthfeel for it. And I'm freaking enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
So,
can we talk about your seltzers for a second too?
Absolutely.
Just because I know you told me I had the fortune of hanging out with her the other day. Surprisingly, just kind of, she's like, hey, I'm on Manhattan. I'm like, I'm on my way right now. So hung out, and she was kind of telling me, you guys have some new flavors of seltzers coming out, right?
We do. So, I mean, you know, everyone's jumping on that seltzer bandwagon. I feel like every single brewery is doing it. And if you're not, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you kind of want to drink some lighter stuff. Right. So we started off with 4 flavors, and then we dropped 1, and we just have the 3 in our variety pack. And we are going to do kind of a blender series, and it's going to be hopefully coming out in April, I believe, should be the May. May should be the release for it. So we got about another month to kind of like get some of that hype going on it. But yeah, it's going to be a little more on the tropical side. It's going to be a sneak peek, but
okay. Are you guys sticking still with the natural flavors for those? Like, absolutely. I know you guys were one of the only ones that were doing natural flavors, which is why I feel they taste very different. They don't taste artificial. They don't taste, they're just, it's that yucky aftertaste that I would get from a seltzer. So
we use all natural fruit purees. Say that 5 times fast. We use all natural fruits in ours. So I always recommend telling people, pour it into a glass, get the full aroma of everything, and then also see the color that they are.
It's pretty. They're really pretty.
Raspberry actually pours a nice, like, kind of purple hue to it, and they're just they're beautiful and taste just as beautiful as they look. I'm a huge fan. I personally like to add vodka or gin to mine.
Okay.
A little extra because they are a little bit higher than some of like your if I could say it, truly White Claws. They're 5.2% instead of just a 5%. So I think that I don't want to toot our own horn, but I want to say I feel like we are one of the first breweries that kind of put out a really good tasting, shelf stable seltzer that's not going to blow up on you. It's not.
I like that you said that shelf stable.
We prefer you keep them cold, but they don't need to be cold. So if you pick up a variety pack that's on the floor in your local liquor store, still take it home, drink it, throw it over some ice. It's really good any way you want to enjoy it. But we've launched a few campaigns for it already, and then we're going to be doing a few other campaigns for the Blender series, and we have a lot of stuff going on actually. So yeah,
nice. Yeah. So basically, make sure you're following your social media, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have one of the flavors. It's a white grape and peach.
Ooh, okay.
It tastes like
refreshing. Yeah. Sounds refreshing.
Nice.
Sounds refreshing. All right. So let me ask you guys this: why do I still have to do a women's show? Like, why isn't this just normal thing where,
we can make it a normal thing. We just have to stop inviting dudes. Just stop letting dudes talk.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
And like this won't, I would love if this was the norm. Let's just do this all the time.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like, okay, I'm going to do the women's show and that's another problem. Every time we do have guests, it's 99% of the time it's guys, it just is. And that's who's in the breweries. And, how do we get to a point where it's a little bit more normal? And I hopefully don't have to keep doing a women's show every year. Although, happy Women's Month, ladies. Happy Women's History Month.
Free tampons for everyone.
Yeah. But I mean, it's
I think we still have to do them just because even as normal as we're starting to make it, it needs to be even more normalized. I mean, we definitely have different things that I think the guys just can't really relate to. And so they don't know how to really kind of ask us the questions that, that we're not just sitting there going, yeah, this beer is great. They don't ask the questions that we want to be asked. Like, how is it as a woman in here? And how is it as this? Because they just, it's just irrelevant to how
or if they do, it's like super patronizing and like normally like so few dudes
We're
have
not
told
gay
me,
bashing, guys, in any way, shape, or form. We're just
No.
discussing.
But I was thinking about this before the show, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know, we are going to have the same questions, and we are, and you know, the same challenges and things like that. And I'm just like, I just don't like listen to many dudes anymore.
Oh yeah,
I just don't listen to them.
Yeah. So it's difficult, right? It's difficult, especially being a minority. A minority woman in beer is such a difficult thing right now.
Mhm.
And I was like so happy. I was like, hey, a lot of brown in here today.
Guilty of being one.
I'm only okay. I'm going a quarter.
Well, like that's dope. Like that's so tight. And like honestly, like just in my experience, I cannot speak for all white women in beer, but I'm barely like a tiptoe in the marginalized pool. Like it's not that hard for me personally to be in the craft beer industry. And so like my experience is not the same as the Latina experience, as the Black experience, as the gay experience, you know, anything like that. And so yeah, I think the fact that like I'm the only just like straight up white chick right now is like super cool.
Yeah. So Cynthia, you said you've been in the beer game about 8 years. You know, how difficult was it for you to enter?
Oh man, it was pretty hard being taken seriously. I feel like at that time, the only women in like production or that were really taken seriously were Laura or Carly Smith. But before that, it was like, you know, women were just beer tenders or we were like sales reps, you know, we were just a face.
Right.
And we were
and nothing wrong with that. It was just, you know, we wanted more roles and we wanted more, you know.
More roles, maybe somewhere up in corporate even, making deals.
Maybe a COO like that.
Something like that, yeah. Or even just like working in production. Like I remember going on an interview for like your super entry like production like keg washer, and they were like, "Can you lift 150 pounds? Can you lift a full keg?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Can you?" Like, I don't. Can you lift a keg? But I feel like a lot of women in production get passed up because they are seen as weak or
as a weaker species. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's, you know, like I remember listening to Carly Smith talking like years ago, and she said, "I could do the same job as a man. It just takes me a little bit longer, and I have to find different ways to do it." So stacking kegs and doing these things like or grabbing grain from the top shelf, like it's going to take me a bit, but I know I can do it.
Right.
So I just think being taken seriously is a really hard part of being a woman in the beer industry. And I was bartending in East County where I had to deal with like a lot of racists, a lot of misogynist men, you know. So that was pretty difficult. But I mean, that's probably the only thing I really regret in the beer industry is bartending in East County.
That seems very valid. Very valid.
Yeah. So Carmen, for you a little bit different because you came into beer when you got married. So for you, I know you drank beer before, obviously, but you know, for you, like, how has that been? And I mean, because that's a completely different way to enter. And what challenges have you seen?
Yes. So for me, I mean, obviously I'm a super hard worker. I mean, my background is real estate. So I've been in real estate since I was 18. So I'm a very, you know, time is up.
Move it. Let's go.
Don't play. Whether it's beer or that or whatever it is. And so, you know, I've been kind of just, you know, that's now part of me. And that's one thing that I was able to bring to the family business. Is that, you know, I mean, I may not understand beer or know beer, but if it tastes good and I like
you're getting there, Carmen, you're getting there. You know,
it takes time.
But, you know, honestly, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but David and I met because of his Abuelita chocolate stout beer. Okay. Yeah. So I came to the barrio and, you know, and I lived there when I was young and we left, you know, when I was young because it was just a lot of crime. But, you know, I would always drive through the barrio, would go to, you know, taco shops and things. And one of my girlfriends, said, "Oh, there's an art show in Barrio Logan." And I'm like, "Art show?" Like, wow, I had no idea there was anything going on there. And then I heard, yeah, there's a brewery making Mexican style beers. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's crazy. And yeah, I made it a point. And my friends, I lost my friends, but I'm like, I've got to go taste this Abuelita chocolate beer. I mean, my first initial thought was I connected with my grandmother that passed, my great grandmother, and I had to try it. And I got there, and little brewery, at the corner of Barrio where Salud is now, but they opened together on the corner. And yeah, I got a taster, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then we were in a hurry to go do something else. I was like, oh, that's great. I love what you're doing. Congratulations. Bye. And then, again, I heard that they had expanded and across the street. And it was just really, I don't know, I had a different perspective of beer at that point. And then being a Latino brewery, there was a place for me to go, I'll be honest. Of course, when I was young in my 20s, Red Trolley, Carl Strauss was like the go-to craft beer that I enjoyed. Arrogant Bastard, by Stone. Those were like the two that I remember like super young. And maybe everybody was getting those at that time. I don't know. But the Red Trolley was one that worked for my palate at that time. And so when I tried
Still works for me, girl. Still works for me.
And so, I can't say that I've been a heavy craft beer drinker just in general. Simply because I don't think that there was ever a beer that I can say, oh, I really want to keep drinking this up until Border X. I'll be completely honest. And so I met up with David again and congratulated him. I went over there.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what? I didn't see what it was.
What?
Paul Segura just said, Red Trolley, that beer sucks. Paul Segura said that.
It's still great.
Yeah.
So anyway, for me, it was very different. Obviously, David and I hit it off after that. Never did I think I'd be helping him with his business. And he was working for Hewlett Packard at the time, helping the family business. I was in real estate, obviously full time. And as our relationship grew and, marriage and everything else, there was a need to help with the family business. And because I believed in what they were doing and I thought it was amazing, I got involved little by little, and now here we are. I mean, Mujeres Brew Club, and I think the interesting is that as a woman helping on the sideline, I always felt that I was on the sidelines and no one ever really knew what I was doing or, whether if it was events or coordinating fundraisers, I was doing all of the things that David had been doing because it was just too much for him. And so he was the face of the business, of the company, as far as community, building relationships with politicians, nonprofit organizations, all of that consists of community. And that's one of David's really big backgrounds is community. And so it just worked. I enjoyed it. Of course, the money I made in real estate versus the money in the beer industry. There's a lot of a difference there.
We didn't come to beer to make money. I mean, come on.
And I'm like, David, I'm waiting. Like, when are we going to start making some like good money? Or what's going to happen here? I'm so confused right now.
Can we talk about that though for a second? We did come in with money. This isn't like we're just giving our time away just for free beer. Like, let's make some money while we do it.
Yeah. And so, so the fact again, that my background has been real estate, marketing and all of that in the real estate world. One thing in real estate is that everything, there's deadlines, there's time frames, you have goals and you want to accomplish them. I mean, nobody gets paid unless you sell a house. And so, so I think that I was able to kind of bring that to the table, being that Border X never had really like a business plan. Oh, we're going to do this and that or anything like that. It was just very grassroots and they didn't even know that people would like the beer. And they did, and they still do. And of course, like, I think, like you mentioned, Danielle, it's like now 7 years Border X has been here in San Diego. And it's like, we're barely doing some things that like we've never really done before, and I think one of, it's like one of those challenges that when you start up a business, you really don't know what's going to happen. And especially, there was no There was no loans, there was no funding, there was no like major investors. So this was all out of pocket retirement savings. And so we've never really had that, you know, large amount of money to do even canning. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's so frustrating. But I can say that I'm very proud that, you know, we've built it very grassroots with community, our regulars, our locals. And I've been part of cultivating those relationships and really understanding what community is. And I think that Border X has really done that. And so I'm enjoying it. It's a different thing that I'm doing now, I guess, in my life. And it is fun. You know, you're when you see your regulars and your locals coming in and they feel like it's home for them. I mean, how can you not make sure that your business succeeds, right? How can you not work hard every day? Correct.
Right.
And so
I think for Three Punk Ales, the same thing. They're very much about community, and they have so many regulars that are always in there. I might be one of them, but I mean, like, there's yeah. But I mean, you see the same people every time you walk in there, you know, and you do. This is like they're little mini families that you make at your places, and you go where you feel comfortable. And that was one of the questions I actually wanted to pose to you guys. What breweries do you feel you're more comfortable at, or you feel are a little bit more maybe friendly to women? Maybe that's not, I don't know if that's the right way to state it or not. But I know that there's certain places that I'm just like, I feel more comfortable here than I do at other places, you know? And I'm not bashing on anybody. I'm just saying there's a few that I'm just like, okay, I just want to go here today, and I'm cool here today. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you guys have any places like that you want to share with us.
If I'm not working, you can sometimes find me at Three Punks.
Yeah.
Fall Brewing. I mean, I used to live next to those guys, and they've always had a really rad staff. Their beer tenders have always been amazingly welcoming. I mean, I know some people haven't always had the best experiences, but I feel like that's everywhere you go, you know. But they've employed some really rad females too, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Beth,
I think they're. Well, I was just going to say the fall thing I think is really interesting because like I have a lot of tattoos, like I'm into punk stuff. And so like I know it's weird. I like when I walk into fall, I was like I am into this aesthetic. Like I felt welcome immediately, but it's definitely not that like kind of punk ethos, like can be really broy, can be really like masculine and male forward.
Broy,
and so
yes.
So I think that it is cool. Like definitely specifically calling out fall. I think they have done a good job of typically making people feel welcome. But I mean, we were talking about society earlier. I think a lot of the stuff that they're doing, like with their marketing, with the merch they're putting out, the fact that they are going out of their way to say like we welcome diversity, we welcome inclusion, we value equity and things like that. I think that's really important. But so, you know, I'd say society, Burning Beard, you know, Shannon's dogs over there, and like
my love of Shannon.
They're great. Yeah. So just like off the top of my head, those are a couple places that I'm just like boom, nailing it.
I mean, I love Burning Beard not because of the fact that they also make you feel welcome, but it's like they're willing to sit and if you want to have an educational conversation with any one of their beer tenders, it doesn't matter who it is, male or female, they will school you on so much stuff and
without making you feel stupid.
Yeah. Unless Shannon's using those big words, and then I gotta like note those and put them in the but I mean, it is one of those places that you just feel amazing going into, and you feel like you learned more leaving, even if you're drunk.
All right, let's move on to beer number 2, guys. We got Swamis, and so I asked each of the ladies to choose a beer. Cynthia's a fucking overachiever, so she sent us 2. But Beth, you chose this beer. So why did you choose this beer, Beth?
So I chose, just like quick shameless plug, I just wrote a really big piece about like the influence and history and evolution of Swamis for good beer hunting. And I love this beer so much. It's always been a favorite. And like Pizza Port is just one of my favorite places in the whole world.
Yeah.
Like I have done baby showers there. I have done birthdays there. I have done everything there. And this is just like such a classic. It's a San Diego icon. It's an IPA. It's, you know, a little bigger than the beer we just drank. A little bit. But it's, you know, one of the things that was really cool about writing that piece was finding out about all the beers that it like directly influenced. I mean, this really helped launch the kind of reign of West Coast IPAs, which thank God are coming back into fashion. I mean, I love hazies, but like I love a good West Coast.
Mujeres might have a West Coast in the tanks right now as we speak.
I love it.
We heard you, ladies. You IPA ladies. I'm like, okay, we're doing this.
I love it. So yeah. I mean, just to me, this is a no brainer. I called it the most, you know, quintessential San Diego beer, and I would be hard. I mean, I'm not hard pressed to say like there's like any other contenders. Like to me, this is it. So I've heard the arguments, and this is on top. This is the San Diego beer. Sorry, 72 and Hoppy or whatever.
It is nice. I enjoyed it. I can't say I've had this before,
it's good. It's good, but I'm like,
I am enjoying this.
Yeah.
You've never had Swami's, Carmen? Is that what you said?
Not this one. I don't think I've had this. No.
Are you serious?
I don't think I've
Who
had
are you?
Friend,
Or-
you've had mine.
You
I'm
need
like,
to get
friend,
out
you've
more.
had mine. Yes, you have. I'm like, you've had some of mine. Yes, you have. But she's not very much into IPAs. Yeah, she's not very much into IPAs.
And I mean, this is an IPA's IPA. Like,
I'm
Yeah,
getting there.
absolutely.
I'm getting there. It's just,
Yes.
I guess I have to be in the mood too. Like, I don't know. It's just,
yeah. I mean, that's
Something
fair.
is a classic. That's a classic West Coast San Diego.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference, you know. There's ones that try to go too big, and this one's just perfect.
And it's been around for a long time. It's changed. Like the recipe is completely different than it used to be, and yet people still love it. People who've been drinking it for 20 years.
I think
Like,
typically, you have people that go in between that, and then I think before, like they kind of sold out a little bit and did all that thing. I think Sculpin was like at that top for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, the San Diego IPA kind of embodied, and that's definitely taken the Sculpin place for sure.
And
yeah.
shout out to Gina. Hello. Hi, Gina.
And Gina, I mean, Gina is my hero. Like, I love her. I got to interview her one time, and we just like talked about our like families and like marriage and life, and I was just like, this is amazing. I love you so much.
So yeah, I fangirled out a little bit with Gina, and then she ended up making me sing karaoke with her. So there's that.
Love that. And Paul just chimed in.
I
Jill,
don't karaoke.
too.
Oh yes, Jilly.
Jill, I mean, Jill is like genuinely one of the nicest people, not women,
Absolutely.
people
I mean,
anywhere.
as a sales rep, I gotta give a shout out to their girl Rosie. She's out there everywhere, and she kills it. She's they just are really good people. They have good people in there. So that's probably another place that I like to go. Like if I'm an OB, I gotta stop by and get a pint of something at Pizza Port for sure.
Right.
And garlic nuts, of course.
Oh, I just went for the first time in, you know, a year or whatever, and I didn't get buddies, but we were talking about just like, oh, you know, Beth, your buddies are at the bar. Beth, you have buddies at the bar, like the Paul, and I'm just like, I miss hearing the buddies at the bar.
Yeah. I mean,
I miss going to bars.
yeah.
That too. Yeah.
I think I was at Society last night, sitting inside.
know.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
let's talk about that really quick. Now that, you know, we're in the lower tier, obviously things are different. How different are things for you, Cynthia, at 3 Punk?
Oh man. When it comes to like the volume of customers, that definitely has changed because we're not allowed to have a whole lot of people in right now.
Right.
I would say that the only thing that's really changed are the attitudes of everybody. You know, like you said, like we were talking about earlier, like they think that COVID magically disappeared, or the fact that they got the vaccine, they can do whatever they want. They don't have to wear a mask or social distance. So unfortunately, we still do get like groups of like 10 to 12 people that are like, hey, can you seat us all on a Friday night? Like, I have to check back in like an hour or something like that. Yeah.
Eat your ass in your living room.
So you guys are still enforcing food?
And then when they complain, it's like take a 4-pack home and go enjoy the company of your friends then. But
Right.
I think that's the only thing that's really changed is the attitude of our customers. You know, a lot of them aren't really like versed on what's going on in the news. So we have to do our part and educate them, you know, like.
So are you guys still doing food? Are you guys still
So
enforcing
we're
food?
still doing food, yeah.
Okay.
So I came in for my shift yesterday, and Steve and I had talked about it, and I was so confused. And he's like, "Don't even ask. We're just doing food. Just do it."
Okay, so I think our listeners are pretty well versed on what the difference is, but we're just going to talk about that really quick. And Christina, yes, I'm down. Let's go.
Also, yes.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
Monday, 'cause I'll be out of town, but maybe
Oh, okay.
Every Monday. It's recurring every Monday.
Reoccurring event.
I'm okay with that.
But anyway, okay, so let's talk about the differences now between what it is to have that food component in your brewery, what it is to not have the food component in the brewery. So differences being, if you don't have food, which was meant for maybe the smaller breweries that couldn't keep up with that food element, the difference is if you don't have food, you have to make a reservation to go. You can only stay 90 minutes, and they have to close by 8 p.m. And a lot of people don't understand that.
I have never heard any of that. That's crazy.
I heard something about the 8 p.m. thing. I heard that if you didn't serve food, then you had to close at 8 p.m. But
if you look at the actual regulations, that's what it is. It says you have to have a reservation.
It doesn't say it said the recommended.
That is
so you can keep it as a capacity level. So even with us going in for indoors, it's 25%. So it's not a whole lot, but basically if you're serving food, you can still stay open until 10. But you can't serve any alcohol after 10. They have to be out by like 10:30, 11 o'clock kind of thing.
And you don't have the 90-minute requirement either.
Well, you do. I think you still do. I think they're still trying to push that, but I think it's more enforced if you aren't serving food because there's nothing to soak up that alcohol. They don't want people wandering around and going to different tables and mingling and just getting hammered because if you're like me and forget to eat all day, then
you don't have time to eat. That's what it is.
Our location being on 3rd Avenue, there's, full service bars and other breweries, which we all love. But it just makes it a little difficult to control those customers on a Friday, Saturday night. They're kind of bar hopping, and then they come in and they don't really quite understand and they're confused, and we're just trying to abide by the rules. So I think our location makes it it's like a double-edged sword. It's great for us, but at the same time, it allows some rowdiness to come in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I know for you guys, because you're so close to so many other different establishments, people want to tend to go and drink here, drink there, drink there. Exactly. So I know that that's the hard part with you having to enforce the food aspect because people don't want to buy food at every single place.
Well, you're still getting they didn't make me buy food or they didn't make me do that.
That's another issue.
It's either or. You either cannot serve food and be closed by 8, or you can serve food and be open until 10.
Right. Yep. Right. So at Mujeres, we kept food. Border X has food. Yeah. Oh, you guys kept food also? Okay. So I think for us, because we have such a large space outside, it's not really an issue for us right now, and we haven't really had that many. Yeah. We didn't have, I think I had one person that was like, oh, I thought we didn't have to buy food anymore. And I was like, well, this is the difference, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, okay. And his friends are like, buy a taco, dude. Shut up. Buy a taco, like that.
So it is mandatory. So it is mandatory.
Buy a taco. It
is mandatory though. On their same receipt, they're supposed to still buy food and beer on the same receipt, or not?
If you want to stay open till 10, yes.
It still has to be.
Is that still the same process?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that. Okay. I thought you better have food on site, but I mean, I didn't know that you still have to have it on the receipt. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm okay with that.
The only thing that's changing from what we were at before is like, cool, we can be inside. And if you want to serve food, cool, you can stay open later. If you don't, you're at it.
Well, not a whole lot has changed except the indoor seating.
Yeah.
Well, for us at Mujeres, it's such a small space. I'd rather keep everybody still
outdoor. Yeah.
Totally. We have plenty of space outside. So but that's not every brewery. Some breweries are small. They don't have any outdoor seating. So that 25% is really important.
we had to take over a couple of like street parking spots, and we have the sidewalk, which we still have to allow room for, you know, people walking by or, you know, things like that. So, and that's another issue where we have groups that congregate in those empty spaces.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, your spot, Esthela, is like golden.
Primo.
Yep.
Thanks. Just wait till we're done, guys. Just wait.
We've been really lucky to have like a lot of outdoor seating at our other locations. We had to change some things up at North Park for sure to allow for that. But
yeah, so you guys have tables outside, obviously, but there's no parking for you guys to take up there, right? Like it's just sidewalk.
There is. So we took over part of a parking lot that was kind of in the back that nobody was even allowed to park at. It was just employee parking. So
wait, wasn't that like a gym or something like that?
Yeah, but COVID.
Core with a K or something.
Yeah, just CrossFit anymore. They do that. CrossFit was 1998. No, they shuttered literally right before COVID hit. So we took all of their parking spots and took out our outdoor patio, and then we just added outdoor seating out front as well. So there's plenty of space for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but our other locations are restaurants, so we never had to worry about it.
Yeah, and that the one up in Vista, you guys have a huge open area, like in the back. It's massive,
and we took over our entire parking lot as well.
Oh, dang! Yeah, okay,
that's good.
Wow, that's awesome.
We didn't fuck around, man. We were getting it done.
Yeah.
We wanted to stay open. We wanted to continue to thrive and make money, and we were just fortunate enough to be able to do so. So
yeah.
And Cynthia's over here rolling out barrels. Poor girl. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god!
I don't think we did that win.
Yeah. All right. So, obviously, there's been a lot of positive changes in the beer industry for women. There's still some stuff that's kind of stayed the same. So have you guys seen anything that has changed on the positive side, or do you wish would change that maybe isn't coming fast enough?
I have really enjoyed seeing a lot of breweries like uniting and standing together with like the Black Lives Matter or the LGBTQ community or you know, what else? Like hiring more like women of color in roles that they haven't really been in before in the beer industry. And I've really noticed that like within the last like 5 years, I'd say, has been an increase, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's a little bit more prominent. I mean, Danielle, you've been in the beer industry for a very long time as well. Wow. So, you know, what do you see that's a positive that, you know, maybe you're like, let's keep this up?
I mean, honestly, it's just, I think it's more of like the camaraderie between the women. Now it's, I mean, starting with Belching Beaver, I got a lot of flack for coming over to this company when I first started. And it was one of those things. It's like I've always been treated with nothing but respect from this company. And I think that's one thing that's changed is that women aren't putting ourselves down as much. We're standing up a little bit more. We're empowered to do so because we know that it's not us alone. You know, Laura Ulrich and even, I mean, Virginia with Second Chance, her coming in and being successful and coming in just like the hurricane that she is of awesomeness. You know, it's one of those things that they're taking notice of stronger women, and we're just not as silenced as we used to be. And they know that we can get these things done because we're knowledgeable on these things, and we're not going to just sit here anymore. So it's definitely drawn a little bit more attention. I mean, I used to do a beer dinner for all women. And I used to get...
We discussed this, guys. We're bringing this back. We're bringing this back, guys.
That sounds great.
Carmen, I'll talk to you about it later.
That sounds great.
The question I used to get was, well, why can't men come? I'm like, it's women only. Like, and we wanted a safe space that women could learn about beer and be educated and not feel like somebody was mansplaining to them. And I think, like, for me, that was kind of the start to Ingrid Chernay, actually. I mean, she opened my eyes to a lot of the things that were struggles for her, struggles for basically every woman in the industry, whether it was like Karen and, you know, just everybody that was there before us that just struggled with this. And now it's normal, you know, like we're here. We're not going anywhere. We're just getting stronger. Mujeres opening up is just another step of empowerment for women. You know what I mean? That just brings more light with Pink Boots. I think getting a little bit more national recognition now too. Yeah. It's changing the game of how we're perceived in this industry and how strong we actually are.
Yeah.
And I think women
I do like that I see. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carmen. Go ahead.
No, and I think that it's important. I mean, even myself, I mean, I think I threw in the towel multiple times just because I felt like I didn't know everything. I didn't understand things. And I would just kind of like, this is just too much, you know? And there was times where it's like, there's so much support from the men, you know, from the guys at the brewery. And I think, you know, just like anything, you have your good and your bad days. And I think as a woman, we're probably, you know, a little harder on ourselves. And, you know, staying there and believing and knowing that they need us, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like place at the table. You know what I mean?
It's important, you know, and I think it's just like anything, right? Just like a marriage or a relationship. It's like, you know, it's not all flowers, you know, it's not going to be like that. But I think, you know, in the beer industry, like you mentioned, I mean, there is a lot of other women, and those women that have stayed this long in the industry and have, you know, put their heart into it, enjoy what they do. I think that, you know, accumulation has happened, that now we're just all kind of like feeling more empowered. I mean, I would have never felt empowered if it wasn't for meeting Esthela or, you know, Virginia, or going to the panel at, you know, over there in Long Beach with all these amazing women and hearing them. I didn't realize there was so many women. And so I guess it just takes something so simple of going to a place where there are other women in the industry to empower you. And it's so important. And I think that's how and why the Mujeres Brew Club was really important, because not just as us in the industry, but just women who are consumers, to feel that they are welcomed at all breweries in San Diego. And so, you know, it's, and like you said, Cynthia, I mean, after these last few years, I think that, you know, it just like anything, it takes time, but, you know, I mean, us women, I mean, we have to just, you know, just stick it out. And no, it's not all wallflowers. I mean, the other day I went to a brewery to go pick up, you know, I don't know, something. And it was like this awkward feeling between like the man and a woman. And I'm like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to ask you anything. I'm just like, and he's awkward and I'm awkward. And I'm just like, this is so weird right now, you know, because it is. I mean, it is a lot, you know, there's a lot of men in the industry. I mean, when you walk to a place and you see nothing but guys at a brewery or at an environment, it's just like, you know, and I've always been like that just in general. I don't like, you know, I don't want, I'm like, I don't want any problems.
I did read something.
It's awkward for men, you know? To see women in these roles that never existed before for a woman, and it is different for them. And so, you know, and you want to respect that, you know, to a certain extent, but it's kind of like, see me as a guy too. Like you don't need to see me as a woman, that you don't need to talk to me as you would to a guy, right? With all the details.
But I do think in San Diego, we are fortunate that we do have very strong, powerful women that have kind of opened the doors for us, honestly. Like we're talking just like, you know, like Laura, I mean, the fact that Laura has been at this as long as she has, and you know, just like you're saying, the force that she is just amazing. And Gina and somebody like Virginia, and you know, we have so many women that we have here in San Diego. I don't know if that's how it is in other cities, honestly. You know, I don't know if
we've lost a couple. I mean, we lost Devin to Arts District, and she was an amazing brewer. I think she was at Keep Court before she went up to do Arts District. We lost Carly to 9. You know, it's like we've I don't want to say groomed, but we've, you know, built these women up, and they're strong enough to go and start a revolution somewhere else.
That's really
we're the Padres of brewing, ladies. We're the
women are our best export.
And
I mean, to add, you know, I mean, there have been really great men that also have, you know, been, you know, helpful, educating me along the way. If it wasn't for those men that have taken that time and patience to explain certain things that, you know, maybe me didn't understand has helped me to get to this point in the industry. So I got to applaud those men. Keep doing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that goes a long way. It really does. And just the same as woman to woman or man to woman, it really, you know, it helps.
Well, and one quick thing I think is important to note is, yeah, there have been men that have like helped women along, but I'm kind of like, I'm personally less inclined to applaud that because I'm just like, oh, you treated us like human beings. You treated us with respect. Like, great, like, congratulations. But I think the thing that I'm kind of seeing happen now are like women, we no longer need to, and we no longer want to rely so much on men. Like we have taken the next step where we can be self-sufficient.
Because we're stubborn and we're hard-headed. That's why.
Right.
But real quick, I want to bring up a comment that Alex just said. He said, from my experience, there wasn't as much on my voyage around the country. And he's talking about women being, you know, so much in the craft beer industry. So yeah, that I always think about that, you know, like,
I mean,
because San Diego's so diverse, and I feel, you know, we have our dynamic here is very different than maybe the rest of the country. So that's why I'm always like, God, I wonder how much harder women have it somewhere else to try to get it.
You have to think about programs like the Pink Boots, and
absolutely,
they offer so many great internships and so many great scholarship funds.
Absolutely,
empower women to do this, but it's, you know, it's not going to be. I feel like, Alex, we're not going to see that right away because this is something that we really kind of only started seeing in the last couple of years, and it's still like everything. It's going to take some time for everything to get kind of catch up with where we're at.
But and also, last I heard, San Diego has one of the biggest chapters of Pink Boots.
It's the second biggest after Boston.
Okay.
Wow.
But it's like it's the second biggest, like barely, like by a hair, but we're like by far the most active.
Got it. Okay.
So
all right.
I think that's cool.
All right. So I got a question for you guys. What did you drink last before the show? It can be any beer. It's just whatever you guys drank before you came on the show.
It was a cider.
Okay.
What's that?
Yeah.
It was from Atlanta. I ordered a variety pack of like kind of beer cider hybrids from, I think it was Urban Tree in Atlanta. And so they have like a hopped one and then like a spicy one and a cherry, like kind of a tart cherry one. So I'm kind of getting into cider.
Okay.
I like cider. I'm a big cider drinker. So cider and seltzers are kind of like my jam. I haven't really been drinking a ton of beer, honestly, but I had a sour lemonade at Fall. I don't know. It was on the board and I was like,
oh, that sounds good.
Beth, you should try it. It's super. I think it's a sour raspberry or something like that. Sour blueberry lemonade. It's like low carbonation, but that shit's got a little tartness to it. And it was
weird. That's cool.
Okay.
I had Jester King's, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce it. It's like Detrivior. It's a farmhouse ale with cherry. And it was really nice. We went to Balboa Park and had like a little charcuterie board and like a picnic.
Oh, day drinking. So yes,
I know. I'm looking forward to that. So, I had that, and that was really, really awesome.
Yeah. Carmen, what'd you drink last?
And I had Nuestra Señora over at Border X, actually.
Hey,
we were doing some food tastings with the whole new menu that Border X is launching. And so, I was actually drinking Nuestra Señora.
Hey, that's what we're drinking next, guys. We did that on purpose, probably. So, yeah. And real quick, you guys, this is a label that we actually released on our crawlers. I don't think you can see it very well, but it has a bunch of different quotes on it.
I love the
from strong, powerful women. So shout out to Liquor Store Mike who designed these for us. So thank you, Mikey. He's awesome. But anyway,
So Esthela, I can't say that I've ever drank out of this new crowler. Have you literally drink out of this, or I mean, or do you pour it in your cup?
Why are you putting me on the spot like that, Carmen? Why are you putting me on the spot like that? Yes, I've drank out of it. I am just saying,
I don't think I've ever actually drank out of it. I was just like, should I? I don't know.
You know what? It might feel more normal if you wrap a paper bag around it.
I like that.
I mean, it's pretty gangster. Right?
Fucking
It's like,
beers.
okay, let's do this.
When did this turn into pick on Esthela time? Damn it. Anyway, all right, guys.
People do drink out of these.
Yeah.
I've seen them, you know?
I don't know if you can see the color on this. Probably
Yeah,
not.
that's a really nice
My
color.
machete glass. Sorry, my machete glass.
Real quick.
Yeah,
What's up with that glitter beer?
Oh,
Because you know my heart, I was like,
Yeah.
what?
so Mujeres is doing a Selena event, but it's not going to be called
Anything for
Selena,
Selena.
obviously, because I don't want her family to sue us in any way, shape, or form. So it'll be like como la cerveza, or
There you
something
go.
like como la cerveza,
Yeah,
something like that.
I could
But,
fall in love with this beer.
We are
Yes, there you go.
we're gonna have a glitter beer and a glitter cocktail, ladies. It will be a beer cocktail, but it will be very Selena, and we're gonna have DJs all day. April 17th. Please come and hang out with us at Mujeres.
Is it gonna be purple?
It's gonna be purple, yeah, for sure.
That
All
is
things
so
purple.
good.
All things purple.
You can't have a Selena beer and have it not be
Yeah.
purple. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's not a Selena event, guys. It's como la cerveza, please.
I'll make sure.
Don't. Yeah. So yeah, but we are gonna do that, and I saw you had a glitter beer too over at 3 Punk.
So that was for St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I'm sure all of you know that everybody on St. Patrick's Day is like looking for a green beer, and
No green beer.
part of it.
Yeah, not
So,
everybody.
Like no
just
green
weirdos.
beers. No green beers.
So I was like, why don't we do a gold beer, like a pot of gold beer? And
Like it.
Yes.
so I just came in with the glitter, threw it in the beer, and yeah,
It's kind of
So-
how it happened at Mujeres too. I was like, Carmen, look.
that's exactly what I did.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
Exactly what I did to
Actually, Paul Segura put up a comment yesterday saying, "Don't drink green beer," and I was like, "Yes, thank you, thank
Yes.
you, Paul, for saying that."
And I had a lot of people come in yesterday asking, "Hey, do y'all have a green beer?" And I
No.
was like, "You know what? I have
No.
something better. I have a gold beer." And they were like, "Oh, okay."
When you,
And of course, all
when
the
you served it,
photos and everything, and the boomerang. So yeah, people were really stoked on that. So
Yeah, it looked beautiful.
yeah, it looks good. When I served it, I would have been like, I like gold.
Yeah.
watermelon seltzer. Yeah. Our watermelon seltzer at 3 Punks has like a nice pinkish hue. Danielle, you know.
With the
So I
tahini
put
rim.
some of the glitter in
watermelon
there, and it came out
seltzer
this
is
really
everything.
nice like rose gold color. So
Ooh.
I'm trying to convince Kevin to do it on the regular, but we'll see.
I'm like, it's gonna be a hard sell. It's gonna be a hard sell.
Oh,
Not for me. I love it.
The only woman that really that's on the schedule there and that works there right now. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Ugh, your pretty beer, whatever."
Yeah, I'm terrible. Like, I would be terrible at recommending beers to make because I'm just like, make a saison, make a glitter beer. Like, great ideas. Make a dark mild. Everyone will love it.
And
He made that barley wine, and a couple, we were like, how is a barley wine going to sell in Chula Vista? And lo and behold, like, it's a really popular beer that we have on our tap list. So
Yeah.
What's the ABV on it?
10.5.
That's why.
That'll get you. That'll get you.
Yeah, it'll get you. All right, we're good.
So this beer comes in at 5.5. It's a spiced amber ale. So cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's not in my pack, so I have to do.
What?
No, you gave me two. Well, I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I have the two Chula Vista beers
Oh
left.
man, I didn't include it.
No, but that's okay. You know what that
Damn
means
it,
is
I
I just
owe
have to
you
come
beer.
by. I just have to come
Yeah.
by.
But
And
you
then-
you have come
Drink
by,
one.
which I
Yeah.
appreciate so much. But yeah, so so now that you guys have been in the beer industry for a bit, what would you change if you would change anything?
No
Of
men
your
allowed.
actual-
They had their chance. They lost it. They're done.
We're just saying, yeah.
I feel like that's a really open-ended ass question. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so much that
From then to now, is there anything you would change? Like maybe now that you've learned some things, is there something that maybe you wouldn't have done or you would have done differently? Maybe.
No, I would have still done the same shit, man.
I feel like I would have like preemptively apologized for reasonable accommodations less. Like, you know, like when I was pregnant and or you know, like, and anybody, like there are things that women, like one of you said like we're our own harshest critics, and that's totally true. And like we feel guilty about advocating for ourselves or even like being a cheerleader for ourselves. And it took me a long time to get to the point where like I don't give a shit. Like I'm gonna rah myself and everybody else along the way. Yeah. And I think I wish I had done that earlier.
Mm-hmm. I would have definitely drank all the beers before.
Well, that too, obviously. I
mean, I agree with Beth. I feel like if we would have started what we're doing now and how kind of the realizing the importance of our roles in what we do a little bit earlier, the game would have been changed just sooner. You know,
recognizing our value.
Yeah, it shouldn't have taken the Me Too movement for us to be able to speak about, you know, being sexually harassed in the workplace or being told to show more cleavage for more tips or all of these stupid things, or just smile because we look better. Smile and instead
just as a compliment.
Or
it's a joke. You know, can you take a joke?
Here's a smile. Like, I would have flipped a lot more people off, probably.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would have done different.
Yeah, I would have started our standing Monday date at Pizza Port a lot sooner.
Oh my God, yes, 100%.
I would have definitely have done that, but yeah. So for me, I think honestly, I wish we would have started Mujeres Brew Club sooner. And luckily, Carmen had that idea, and she came to me about it. So, you know, we started in 2019. So it's been a minute now, but
I can't even believe it's been this long. I mean, obviously, minus 1 year of COVID, but no, it's, you know what? I mean, and honestly, that was pretty brave, Esthela. I mean, not brave, but it was very like
Jilly's on.
It was like,
she heard her name.
Yeah, we said it 3 times, and she comes on like Beetlejuice.
That's Bloody Mary ever.
but
also, Jill, yes.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, Carmen, I mean, you had the idea. You just didn't know what you wanted to do, and again, it started during Women's Month.
No, but I'm saying that these are the kinds of things that I'm sure a lot of us women in the industry, you know, have some idea or something that comes to our mind or heart, and a lot of the times we don't do them, right? And the fact that David, you know, my husband, that I mentioned it to him, I'm like, well, what do you think about a women's, you know, brew club? And he's like, well, what would that be? Or I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just an idea. That's as far as I've gotten. I have no idea about the details.
and the Mario Logan powers that be willed us together is what happened, Carmen. So,
you know, but I mean, again, if it wasn't him saying, okay, sure, you know, and then me, you know, teaming up with Esthela, who has all of the beer, you know, she's been in the beer industry, tasted the beers, knows the beer, loves the beer, you know, was a huge part of it. I mean, I could have done it, but I mean, you know, I would have just been kind of going off of what I thought was best. So it was really, you know, and I think that's something for all of us. It doesn't matter if it's beer or anything. It's like us as women, if we have ideas or anything or businesses we want to start or whatever, it's like we have to do them. You have to try. If you don't try, and you might gonna fail. I mean, we're gonna make mistakes and all of that. But I think that most of the times, if you're passionate, the people around you will help you. You know, the people that are supposed to be there to push you in that direction, it will happen. So that's my tip. That's my you know, tip for the day. It's like we gotta just freaking try.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our girls, actually, she was like, she wanted to get into the beer industry and she just didn't know how. I was like, start applying. That's what you do. You know, start applying. And, you know, she's doing cellar work now at Modern Times Anaheim.
Nice. So, well, and it's like, give yourself
and today's her birthday, by the way. Chelsea, hi, happy birthday.
And it's like, give yourself permission to possibly fail. Like it's really not, literally what's the worst thing that could happen is you don't get the job or you know, like whatever. And that's one nice thing about being a journalist, like specifically, is I get rejected a lot. Like that's not only the norm, it's more common than not for me to like a pitch to get rejected or whatever. And so I'm like, after getting, 7,986 no's in a row or whatever, you kind of become immune to it. But if I hadn't done all those things and gotten doors slammed in my face so many times, I probably wouldn't, I would still take it so personally. Like, I just don't care anymore. I'm like, oh, well, like on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. And I think that's a really valuable lesson for people to just like literally, what's the worst thing that you think is going to happen is you don't get the job.
Yeah. So
okay. Like fine. Like no problem.
It never hurts to ask.
It never hurts. It literally never hurts to ask. It never hurts to ask. And I want people to, especially women or, anybody who feels or comes from marginalized identity in craft beer. It's just like, just try it. Like just go for it. And if it doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to be. But that's not necessarily a commentary on your skills or value as a human being or expertise. That's just the way that the world is. Yeah. So just be like, just fuck it, man. Like give it a go, and it'll probably. I think people will always be more surprised. People will be more surprised.
Yeah, and reminding ourselves that women started in the beer industry, right? I mean, doesn't that like?
Yeah, we're like literally fulfilling our destinies right now.
Like, let us.
Do you guys have any other advice for somebody who's maybe trying to get into the beer industry, and how should they go about it? Or,
I mean, from my experience, I started off bartending. And then went to marketing and social media and managing and beer buying and then bartending again. It's a great way to make some money, starting off and learning it's an easy way to learn your product and get to know who your consumer is and who your daily beer drinker is, and, go from there. If you want to go into sales, it's like, well, you know what? I know who drinks my beer. This is who I'm going to go sell to. Or, if you want to go into production, it's like, well, I've got to, just knowing your product. I think bartending is like a great base for that because
I feel like knowing yourself too, knowing what you're comfortable doing too. Like not everybody makes a good beer tender. Not everybody, makes a good salesperson.
I'm not. I can't. I'm not good with that. That's just not my jam. I mean, I don't mind talking to the customer.
But you know what you're not good at or what doesn't suit you, which is you're already winning knowing that, you know?
Exactly. And then thankfully 100%. In the beer industry, there are so many avenues that you can take. And so
don't let people tell you what you should be doing in it. Just figure out what you want to be doing in it. And if you need a little more education from that, then you might have to start at the bottom. Like I know when I was at Belching, there's a lot of girls that started off on the production line. I mean, Kelly and there's so many now that are like working for Cutwater, or they're in sales, or they're running things. Like Good Man. I mean, that's where I met her. She was beer tending forever, and look at her now. Look at how empowered and how far these women have come, and creating their own destinies within this beer industry. And I mean, like even like you, Esthela and Carmen, like you guys are creating your own destinies within it and creating yourself a niche.
Girl, I just drank.
Yeah, I mean, I started with reservations. I started taking reservations. That was it. I mean, it was like, and I started understanding who the customers were, who was coming, and who wanted to be there. And so it was something so minor that I was like, I wasn't doing it full time, but it was enough that all of a sudden I was involved with talking to the customer. Oh, well, what beer do you have? Oh, well, what food do you have? Oh, well, it's just like all these things. And it's like all of a sudden I knew more than what I wanted to know. But it's part of it. It's part of customer service. It's part of engaging with the customer, feeling them welcome if they've never been there, and answering all those questions. And so, I mean, it's just sometimes you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to diminish the disillusionment that people, like the very real disillusionment that people can feel when you're like, I've literally applied for like 50 jobs and I am qualified for them, but like nobody's calling me back. They're hiring their buddy, they're hiring the dude or whatever. Because that is a very real thing. And like that is something that I think women and marginalized people still face like on a very significant basis in craft beer. And just because somebody, but I hope that getting to the point where rejection doesn't bother you only serves to prove to yourself that like you have value and there is a place for you. And
yes,
but yeah, that is something that I think we still as an industry and really society, like humanity, need to work on, because women do have to prove themselves twice as hard to get half as much. Like we do settle for getting our foot in the door at the, entry level jobs and stuff like that when other people don't have to. And it's not fair. But I think that we, as women and other identities, like, we're resilient and we have proven that we can do it. And the more people that we see represented in various levels, not just beer tenders, marketing people, social media managers and things like that, but brewers, owners, everything like that. So I think that representation is super important for inspiring people who have had the door shut in their faces a million times.
I mean, honestly, I don't think we do enough shout outs as well for the women that are in the production side of it as well, or on the quality control side of it, or you know what I mean? I mean, shout out to
they're not, everybody looks at the brewer and like, no shade on brewers,
Well, I'm opening up our last beer, guys.
Okay.
Hey, kill the pork. So thank you to 3 Punk for this beer. Cynthia, you want to tell us about this
beautiful
beer?
label? I love the label.
We have some Chicle. That's his name.
Hey, I love it. Yes,
all of our labels and all of our t-shirts.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
It's beautiful. Okay, let's see. What do we got here?
Oh man,
so this is one of my go-to IPAs.
So San Diego style IPA, is that like, I don't think I've ever seen that.
So that's kind of our twist on like a West Coast IPA. It's something
I like it.
Super bright,
really tropical, like
exactly.
Super nice.
I'm like, where's Paul Segura so he can explain that to us?
We don't need Paul. We got this.
Right, like it's super juicy, but it's crisp. Like it's not hazy, like that like mouthfeel. It's still got that really like light, clean, crisp finish. But it's
nice.
It's only 6.5% too, and it's the 2020 Veterans Blend. So you're gonna get those like nice, like bright and hoppy, like tropical fruits, like you were saying, Beth. And this is my go-to IPA when somebody comes in and has never been there and they need an IPA. It's
this is a good one. Yes, I could do this.
Yeah, this is available. You guys have this on draft. You guys can do colors of this, and you have.
So we can everything in house.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin and Ozzy.
I'm like hand label everything.
Hand label.
What?
Manual canner.
Yes.
And so shout out to them. They do. Yeah, they put in a lot of work on our cans and our,
Hi Kevin. Hi Ozzy.
Hi.
Hi guys.
I want to say hi to OC.
Yeah,
Girl
you're like,
too.
fuck you.
Hi OC Girl.
Like, God, you just clocked out.
So real quick, one of our first beers that we started with at Mujeres was La Casa Verde, which we brewed with you guys over there. And we keep getting people ask for it. Like, and I'm like, we can't make it ever again, guys. I'm so sorry.
Why don't you just
3 Punks needs to come over and brew a San Diego style IPA with us.
That's already on the calendar, girl. I got that already.
Girl, Esthela, she's always got stuff.
Yeah. But the thing is, we use the 2019 Pink Book blend, which is why we can't make it again. So people are like, just make it again. I'm like, that's sweet.
So this is a rotating IPA. So the hops are always changing with every batch. So not every batch is the same. So
I love that.
This is a super good one.
Always tasty though, friend.
This is my favorite one so far.
I haven't finished the other beers yet, but I think I'm going to finish this one.
I didn't get that one. Yeah.
Because I went to pick up after you and me were together, Danielle.
It's fine. It's cool. Thanks for the invite, guys. It's cool.
I would have gone to pick it up sooner, but I was with you at Manhattan drinking, girl.
I'm so sorry.
She came to my house a day late because she was like, sorry, I got wrapped up with Danielle. You know how it goes.
I blame Jenna. Okay.
Here. True. Hey, Jenna. Hi.
And I, if you're watching.
Yeah. Hi, Jenna. Sorry.
Also, another amazing female in beer. I mean, let's just
Yes.
See, that's the thing. Like, there's so many, and it's just like kind of unbelievable. Like, I love that. Like, there are.
I honestly, I had no idea there was so many women involved until we started the club.
Yeah.
I mean, when some of you came as guest speakers, Danielle,
Carmen,
Cynthia, I had no idea.
I was say that all three of them have been speakers on
Yes.
Club.
And that has been very empowering. I mean, it really has, because I had no idea. It's like, where do you look up to see, women in the industry? I mean, besides Pink Boots, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like,
Jillian,
I mean,
Jillian, you're next.
But I think that's what's wild and like so cool about the whole Mujeres movement is that it's like I've known you guys for way before this, and we're friends, right? Like we're friends, and it's like you guys are genuinely doing something that is like monumentally influential on a national, if not global scale, and it's kind of bizarre to be like, my friends are getting famous. Like,
I have to say that that's partially due to you putting us in there for the freaking. I'm like, some of these awards that we're getting, Carmen's like, what is that? I'm like, it's a huge deal, and she's like, what is it?
It really is. It really is a huge deal, but like it's like I just definitely don't want to underplay it at all, because it's like we're casual and we're friends and we're texting and like having drinks and that's cool, but I'm just like, you guys are honestly doing something very incredible, and I'm so excited to like even be in the vicinity of it.
I appreciate that. It's not easy. I'll be the first one to say it. It is not easy. It is nerve-wracking every day, as we're going through it, especially in the middle of COVID. I mean, it's like nuts. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was crapping my pants when like one thing led to another, and I'm like, wait, what am I signing up for? Like, wait, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And you're telling me I walked into a meeting wearing sandals and had a key to a brewery when I walked out. That's what happened. That's what happened. Okay.
So it was meant to be, right? It's one of those things where like, I mean, it would never, Esthela and I never talked about, one day we'll have a brewery. It's like, that wasn't even in our thoughts. Not even as a joke ever. It was more of like, we were excited just to get to through our classes each month. I'm like, oh shit, it's already next week. Esthela, do we have everything ready? I mean, it was like, just making sure that each class was a great success. So, it is, like you said, Beth, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, when the customers walk in, people from LA, all over the place, and it's just, and then even just husbands coming in to get their beer for their wives. Yeah. It's got to be classic. Oh my God. I live for those moments.
For this crowler, like, we had so many people come in and they're like, we need the crowler now. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then we did. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
One of those.
Love that.
And it's just, people are just buying everything up, and I don't know what to do.
Honestly,
I mean, they're very supportive. They're very supportive. And I think that's what's so awesome is that other women, right? Yes. Not in the industry, all walks of life. I mean, we had one group of women come from Santa Barbara. The girl came and she's like, she's from San Diego, but she lives in Santa Barbara. And she's like, I told all my friends in San Diego that, don't you know about this place? Like, we're all Latinas. Like, you guys need to go and support these women. And
I don't think we understand that. I don't think you and me get that, Carmen.
And then, like, you said earlier that you wish you would have started this earlier. I think you started it exactly when you needed to start.
I think so too. Yeah.
There's a time and a place for everything, and it wasn't an accident that you guys started this. This was obviously well thought out, and a lot of pain and heartache and struggles. You know what I mean? So, but I think you started it when it needed it, when not just you guys needed it, but I think we all needed it as well.
Well, and we're ready for it.
Yeah, but I will say this would have not worked if it wasn't for Border X, and if it wasn't for all the breweries that have supported us, because honestly, so many breweries have been behind us and just like, how do we help you? What do I do? Like, seriously, like I said, all of you guys being speakers.
I mean, Pink Boots has done a great job, right? But it's been industry driven. And so this was a little bit different because this was like, oh no, let's think about the consumer. Let's think about all the women that drink craft beer, right? And so it's just a little bit different in that sense. And
it's not as inclusive, if you will. You know
Well,
what I mean?
and Pink Boots has been around a long time. And when you get to be an organization of that level, and this is not Pink Boots specific, this is any organization of that level,
Sure.
there are going to be certain things that they cannot do. They can't be
Correct.
as flexible or agile, and they'll have people who are dug into a very specific way of thinking that has worked for them, and it is more difficult to evolve with the times. And so it does require constant refreshing of ideas and people and input and things like that. And so that's the one thing that I think Mujeres is like, it's always going to be difficult to be a trailblazer. Like, you're at the front of the pack chopping down the palm leaves as you get, blaze through the jungle. And so having people support you is the only way you're going to make it work. It's the only way it's going to work. And having a supportive San Diego community around you isn't just a benefit, it's a necessity. And I think that's so great.
Absolutely.
And I think just in any industry almost, to be honest with you, Beth, because, I've worked in real estate and it's a very rough industry to work in as a woman, even though real estate was supposed to be for the stay-at-home mom. Right. So it's kind of got dominated by men, and now you're dealing with a bunch of men, and it's like, I've dealt from, prior to that, I was in mortgage, in the mortgage industry, mortgage insurance. So prior to when I was 18, I got into real estate, but prior to that, I was in the mortgage insurance, and it's nothing but guys, salesmen, you're dealing with all of that. So honestly, just being a woman, Latina, curvy, whatever you want to call it, it's like, I've dealt with a lot of sexual harassment. I've dealt with like awful things, and to be able to finally be at a point in my life.
I'm just sharing this beer because they send us an extra one, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
And I think, this presentation, not just because we're a brewery, but just because we're women, that, time to really just do what we want to do, whether it's beer or whatever. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm done. Like, I'm done with you guys. Like, in the workplace and the work environment, it's like,
you ain't done shit for me.
I want a place that's Mujeres, that it's women, and we're going to help each other. We're going to power. We're going to create jobs here, and you don't have someone breathing down your neck. Like, I'm sorry. Like, honestly.
We're questioning your credentials.
Oh, yeah.
Or trying to bargain with me, for my work skills or ethics. It's like, no, bro. No.
Yeah.
My favorite is when they ask you, they're like, oh, what does this beer taste like? And you adequately describe it to them, and they look at the guy and go, is she
right?
Is she okay? Does she know what she's talking about? And they're like, this bitch knows more than I do.
So I've had situations at Hess. Yeah, I've had situations at Hess. I think I was a year into working there, and I was training some of the new hires on beer styles and the product that we had there. And somebody had come up and asked one of our, it was me and another male bartender. And they go, can I ask, can you move out of the way? I want to ask for beer.
I would shoot lasers out of my eyeballs.
Thankfully, he was like, are you kidding me? She trained me. She probably knows more than me. And he was like, oh, well, I just figured you were like a cocktail drinker or something like that.
I am.
You're wrong, dummy.
Like I said earlier, they just don't take you seriously. They think that, you want oh, you're a female, behind the bar, so you probably only drink the lightest beer here. Like, what's a girly beer? That's another.
No. That's when you hand them the biggest IPA you have, whatever double you have. That
every single time.
Yeah, I've had that question a couple of times actually. Have you tried that beer? I'm like, at my place.
What?
Are you asking me if I've tried the beer at my place? I'm behind the bar right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
that's
guys.
When you just open the tap into your mouth.
You have to make eye contact. You have to
open the tap. That's when you do the beer thug chug or whatever, right? All right, bro. Can you chug a beer? Can you chug a beer though?
All right. So, ladies, as a show, we've had a lot of support too. We have a lot of people that still support us. Our Patreons are amazing. They help us out every single month. And I'm going to tell you guys who they all are right now real quick because there's a lot of them. Ben, Bill, Brian, and Chris from Praia. Hi, guys. Hi. Brian Gould. It's not so fun saying about myself. But anyway, Captain Eli, Casey, Dan Diego's. Hey. Dante, David Martin out in Vermont. Hi, friend.
Oh, cool.
Doug, Garen from Beer Alien, Greg, the Indie Beer Show brand COVID-19 pandemic socially distanced Zorb Ball. Thanks to Greg and Maggie for making me say that. Hoppy Craftsman Podcast, James, Jared, Jason, Jess from Ale Tales. Hey, boo. Hey, we got an event happening at Ale Tales for opening day. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Mujeres, us, DJ, opening day. It's a thing. We're doing it. Anyway. Joaquin, Joseph, Joey from Hoppy Burger, Juan, Judith, Kenneth, honorary patron for life, Larry Smith, love you, friend. Liz Bauer, Matt and Candace Babineau, Matt from The Perfect Pour, Miguel, Mr. Peacock from Topcraft, Mike, Nathaniel, Norman, OC Brew Girl who's here, hey girl, Pacific Beer Chat, Robert from 13 Point, Rudy the Artist, Sergio, Tamales Las Golondrinas, that's one of the members. Hey girl, hey! And Vegas J. So if you guys want to become a Patreon, please log on to Patreon / The Indie Beer Show. Help us out. $6 a month. I say your name every time. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go.
I'm in.
Yeah. So, shout out to I give for the Emo Brown podcast that I support every month.
I was just a guest there, friend. I was just a guest on that show too. So anyway, all right,
I haven't even been on it. So
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you guys. Right. So how can we keep up with all of you guys? Either, your social media, however you want to say. Beth, you go first.
You can find me on Twitter, usually not beer Twitter, but sometimes a lot on beer Twitter, at Delighted Bite. And then on Instagram, it's at The Delighted Bite. I mostly am just posting pictures of Filipino food lately, so get over it.
It's all good. All good. Cynthia, how can we keep up with all things?
You could follow 3 Punk Ales. It's the number 3 Punk Ales on Instagram. And you can follow me personally, CYNJ Jimenez, just my name. So, yeah. That's
watch her lift shit.
Yeah, watch her lift shit.
Yeah. Scary, guys. Scary. Carmen, how can we keep up with all things Mujeres and Border X?
Yeah, just follow Mujeres Brew. Mujeres Brew House, right? Oh no, it's actually Mujeres
Brew _house. Yeah.
Yes, on Instagram and Facebook. Mujeres has a Facebook as well for some of you that prefer Facebook. And then we also have a website, mujeresbrewhouse.com. And what else? Border X, Border X Brewing? Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, borderxnation.com. And that's it. And if you need to get a hold of me, you can message either account and just say this message is for Carmen. But any personal Instagram accounts, unfortunately, I can't. Yeah, I just. Anyways.
That's definitely not my personal.
I don't have anything to tell Instagram personally.
All right, Danielle, how can we keep up with all things Belching Beaver?
Oh, all things Belching Beaver. So belchingbeaver.com is our website. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can follow each individual one of our locations. It's just Belching Beaver and then Belching Beaver Oceanside, Vista, Pub 980, or North Park. To find all the good things, including the pre-sale stuff that we've been doing and any events we have going on, happy hours and all of that stuff. Me personally, I'm private, so you can't follow me.
Private, bitches.
All right. If you guys do want to reach out to us, cheers at indie.beer, at the Indie Beer Show on Twitter, at the Indie Beer Show on Instagram, Facebook. And if you actually want to call us and leave a voicemail, I mean, you can do that. Nobody's done it at all this year.
What's the phone number, Esthela?
How about we have some girls do it just to do it? So it's 619-798-6038. Just call us and bother us,
Yeah.
Like, do it. So, yeah.
Before we leave, Esthela, can I do a small shout out because I know our friend Caesar is there watching with his little.
Yeah. Okay.
We love you. Love you guys.
Yeah. Hi, Natasha. Hi, girl.
All the little girls watching us. I hope
Zoo date, please, soon. Zoo date, please. Thank you.
And for date.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you to our audience who watched us tonight. And I
Yes.
appreciate you guys so much. And we'll see each other at Pizza Port on Mondays. Hey.
See you there.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. But anyway, cheers, ladies. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.